Hello again. Welcome to UCL this week. I appreciate you joining me. It was absolutely goals galore in this match day. Some massive wins for Champions League favorites. So let's get into that right away. But as always, you can catch the matches on DAZN in select territories. In Canada here, that's where I watch the Champions League, but it is also available in the USA in Spanish. If you want to check that out, I have a link for you below. That does help the channel. All right, vamos. Barcelona and Olympiacos was actually a little bit tighter than the final score would have you believe, at least until the red card, which prior to that, Olympiacos looked like they could cause an issue for Barca, like the tides were turning, but after that it became very predictable as to which direction this was going, and in the end, a routine win for Barca. Now the thing is, that was never a second yellow for Hetze. If anything, you could see Casado getting a yellow for a cynical grab or pullback on Hetze, arms absolutely wrapped around him. So big reasons for Olympiacos to be upset here. Beyond that though, some nice goals from Rashford, who played through the middle with Fermin behind him. Fermin got a hat-trick, his first career hat-trick. I'm sure Barca supporters are so thankful that he ended up staying this summer because he was almost out the door, you gotta remember. 4 goals in 11 minutes in the second half to take it from 2-1 to 6-1 for Barca. Also funny hearing Rooney and Rashford from the commentary. And of course, we're talking Rooney Bargi, right? Karat and Pafos played to a 0-0 draw. Frustrating one for Pafos, who found themselves a man down after just 4 minutes. Brutal. You flew all the way out there to throw the game like that. Hey, at least it was a record breaker for the fastest red card in Champions League history. 3 minutes and 3 seconds is all that it took. What did he do? This. That is definitely not a permissible move in this sport, unfortunately, Mr. Joan Correa. I had Arsenal as one of the teams that I see going deep in this competition. Wouldn't be surprised if they made the final, and once you do that, you never know, right? You could end up winning it. Now, the big reason behind that is the reinforcements that they brought in this summer, that added depth that I keep talking about, keep yammering on about, as well as their defensive records. In 9 matches at home in the league phase of this competition, so last season and this season, they haven't conceded a single goal at home. But in this match, Arsenal did score from a set piece once again. Gabriel truly is operating as one of the best center backs in the world in this moment. Not because of the goal necessarily, though he is a weapon from set pieces, but even after scoring, stopping a dangerous attack from Giuliano right away as well. Lewis Skelly was the architect of Arsenal's second goal, which was from open play. I think it's important to make that distinction. Lewis Skelly getting on the ball centrally, surging forward, holding off challengers, then playing it wide to Martinelli, who has been Arsenal's most lethal finisher this season. Gyökeres, he would get a goal, not a memorable one in his opinion, as you could see he reluctantly rolled out his celebration. Huge deflection off of David Hansko before dribbling into the goal. But he got a second, yes, from a corner, scoring with his groin. I mean, more his hip than his groin, but hey, you take any goal, right? Pretty crazy, from 0-0 to 4-0 in 13 minutes in the second half. And for how good Atleti look when they play at home, they are winless when playing away this season across all competitions. Benfica sitting back, but some decent pressing at times, carved out some chances, Luca Bacchio hitting the frame of goal, etc. But Newcastle absolutely the most dominant side in this game. Now, should Malik Chow have got a red for his challenge on Pavlidis? I don't know, man. Also annoying is Gordon stepping on Luca Bacchio's ankle and Luca Bacchio getting a yellow, but honestly, you cannot blame those moments on the totally absent defending that Benfica had. Brainless at times. It is not working, Mr. Mourinho. Newcastle deserved the lead in the 32nd minute, deserved the win in general. Unbelievable throw from Pope to Harvey Barnes for Newcastle's second, and an incredibly accurate finish in off of the post from Barnes. And speaking of brainless defending, look at our shape here for Newcastle United's third goal. Completely disorganized, Otamendi playing him on. Rough. And Benfica are winless while Newcastle United cruise to a deserved second win in this competition. Anthony Gordon just tearing Benfica apart. A great performance from him. This was a lovely match to take in. What a first half. You had Mendes setting up Pacho, you had Leverkusen winning a penalty and Grimaldo hitting it off the woodwork, you had Andrik getting a red for that elbow on Doué. You felt like PSG would run away with it there, being a man up, only for Zabarnyi to deny a clear goal-scoring opportunity and give away a penalty, so he's sent off as well. Leverkusen then go level from the penalty spot, Aleix Garcia with the penalty this time, righting Grimaldo's wrongs. But this was all false hope for Leverkusen, unfortunately, because PSG actually preferred having more space out there. Desiree Doué made it 2-1. Great quick feet to score there after a soft touch. One touch and then hitting it right away. A couple minutes later, and the disorganization at the back for Leverkusen really started to hit, man. Losing the ball a couple of times, of course, in part to PSG's famed pressing, credit where it's due. They forced the errors, yes, but Kvicha Kvaratskhelia made it 3-1. He got a second bite of the apple and smashed it in off the post. And again, before the half was up, Doué with a perfectly placed strike low past the keeper. 3 goals for PSG in the final 7 minutes of the first half. And in the second half, complete collapse from Leverkusen while PSG looked incredibly strong. 3 more goals added in the second half, including from Dembele, who makes his return, Nuno Mendes once again, who is the best left back in the world, and Vitinha. Mismatch, really. Losing Andrik left a huge hole in the midfield that PSG used as their playground in this match. Vitinha with too much space to pull the strings in there, and they punished Leverkusen again and again. So PSG turned the screw when they needed to. Leverkusen still a shell of themselves. This cannot be considered the same team as before. Completely gutted. There is no resemblance. And to think PSV were winless coming into this and looked absolutely incredible against Napoli, burning their former guy, Noah Lang. Napoli are in some rough form. 2 losses in a row now, 3 losses in their last 6 matches. But this was insane. I know that Antonio Conte struggles in European competitions, but 6-2? This is the first time in his career that his side has conceded 6 goals, as was it the first time in Napoli's history that they have conceded 6 goals in a European match. And Conte had this to say after, quote, "Last season, we won the Scudetto in an extraordinary, incredible way, having very few players when everyone went beyond their limitations. We had great unity and solidity. Inevitably, playing in Europe and adding many more new players who, in my view, were too many, because 9 new faces in a locker room is no mean feat. We were forced to do that. Since the start of the season, I said this was going to be tough, because I have experience. I know what it takes to absorb these changes." Yeah, that's true, and that can explain a loss, but not a 6-2 loss in the nature that they did. PSV were very good, and Peter Bosz deserves a lot of credit for how his team dominated. Before the red card happened in the 76th minute, PSV were still by far the better of the two sides with a deserved 3-1 lead over Napoli. But once Napoli collapsed, I mean, it was a shooting gallery, thanks to the optional defending. If you're a Napoli supporter, one positive was seeing Scott McTominay getting amongst the goals again. Other than that, all congratulations to PSV for a huge result. Dortmund looked good in their second half against Bayern over the weekend. They did lose, but they pushed Bayern very hard, and they continued with strong second half performances this midweek match against Copenhagen. They won 4-2 in Copenhagen with Joe Bellingham getting 2 assists, Felix Nemecha with 2 goals, the second big deflection. And speaking of, Bellingham's second assist was also a big deflection that Fabio Silva was able to smack past the keeper for 4-1. Victor Dadison made it 4-2 at the end. Man City had a relatively easy win over Villarreal as they won 2-0 away. Bernardo Silva was all over the place in this match. Erling Haaland scoring once again. And finally, Inter with a big 4-0 win away to Union SG with the legend of Francesco Pio Esposito growing further with a goal and an assist in this one. Dumfries cleaning up from a corner, his second UCL goal of the season. And this came at a time when Union were actually the much better team for much of that first half. But that all changed just before halftime as Inter went into the break 2-0 up. Dumfries bringing the ball forward, squaring to Esposito, who laid it off to Lautaro for 2-0. Great finish from Lautaro. Just after the half, Çalhanoğlu with the penalty, and finally, great work from Boni to set up Esposito later. Beat his man to the byline, then cut it back for Esposito for 4-0. Okay, admittedly, I was at the doctor. Missed both of the first matches of the day, but hey, Athletic was the club to stop the mighty Karabag from going 3 for 3. 3-1 Athletic, despite Karabag actually scoring 1 minute into the game. And check this out from Up to Joe. This is actually the third time This man has scored in the first minute of a European competition, and yes, he's the only player to ever do that. Galatasaray welcomed Bodo Glimt, and the Galatasaray Ultras had a nice choreography once again. These guys always deliver. I like this one. Galatasaray cleared this matchup pretty quickly. Victor Osimhen scoring after 3 minutes. Take your time, eh? Andrade did it in what, a minute? And what were you waiting for, Victor? 3 minutes? Come on. He'd score after half an hour as well. Yunus Akgün on the hour mark, and for Bodo, they got a goal through Helmerson. All right, no doubt a big draw on Wednesday. Juve going to the Bernabeu, and Kenan Yildiz the captain on the big night. Huge night for him. Real Madrid, absolutely the team that was carrying all of the initiative in the first half, outshot Juve 14-3 to give you an idea of how that first half went. Tchouaméni with one of the better chances from across. Then Mbappe with the chance late in the half. That was saved by Di Gregorio. Vlahovic should have put Juventus ahead in the second half, holding off Militão, but his strike was straight at the leg. Thibaut Courtois as he came rushing out. Massive chance there for Juve, who had been sitting tight for most of that first half. At this point, Juventus were looking decent when they would dare to go forward. You had McKennie's ball through the box that Vlahovic wasn't anticipating, but shortly after that, it was Vinny time. Vinicius Jr. constructing a goal out of thin air, out of nothing, wriggling between two Juve defenders and then smashing it low across goal. He beat Di Gregorio, but it came off of the post for Bellingham to put away. Bellingham's first goal contribution of the season. Big credit to Di Gregorio for the double save that he made after 70 minutes on Mbappe and then Brahim Diaz, and he would need to be bailed out by Gatti right after that. At that point, Real Madrid had 25 attempts. That speaks to the kind of night that Juve was going through. They did have a great chance to score themselves, however, as the substitutes David and Openda got in behind Real's high line. David gave it to Openda, and Openda, guilty of dwelling on it for a moment too long, giving Asensio the half a second he needed to get his block in. Great opportunity for them there. And while Juve pushed in the second half, Real Madrid came out on the other side as 1-0 winners. 3 wins from 3. Juve, however, trouble for Igor Tudor, winless in 7 matches now. And they play his old club, Lazio, next. Very promising Bayern talent Lennart Karl opened the scoring for the Bavarians after just 5 minutes against Club Brugge, collecting the ball, beating his man, sprinting away from 2 more before a left-footed strike into the corner past the keeper. 8 minutes later, and a nice move down Bayern's left between Luis Diaz and Leimer ended with a tap-in for Kane. Diaz would get one himself after about half an hour, taking a strike that surely Norden Jakers in the Club Brugge goal didn't expect, at least not to be struck with that kind of venom. Luis Diaz hit that ball like it owed him money or something, smashing off the crossbar and in, which is my favorite, as you know. There's nothing better. Man of the match, Luis Diaz, by the way. Great match from him. And Konrad Leimer getting 2 assists as well. His first was the better of the 2, but they all count, right? To close things out, Nicolas Jackson, why did I say it like that? Nicolas Jackson got his second Bayern goal, which was also his second Champions League goal, as well as Bayern win 4-0. It's funny seeing a lot of odds when it comes to the Champions League and who can win it. And there are some publications and media outlets that are completely looking past Bayern. We must right these wrongs. We must give Bayern the praise that they deserve. But maybe the Bayern supporters would prefer that. But anyway, Liverpool. There isn't a better time to play them, as they were on 4 consecutive losses, the first time since 2014 that this has happened with Liverpool. And you would understand if Liverpool supporters were worried. You know, here we go again, when Rasmus Christensen put Frankfurt ahead, and then Bradley had a great chance to equalize after about half an hour. Difficult ball in, I believe it was from Gakpo. That would add to the here we go again of it all, you know, missing opportunities such as that. However, we then saw the rally happen, and despite Liverpool's poor form, Frankfurt's has been worse. And that would have hurt their supporters way more to see where Liverpool's goal would come from. Hugo Ekitike capping off a stunning counter from Liverpool, and with all of the pace you could ever ask for, and then a calm finish past Michael Zetterer to score in the stadium he used to call home. From there, Liverpool were on scheduled goals, like scheduled deposits. Every 4 to 5 minutes, they'd make another deposit. It was Van Dijk to make it 2-1 from a corner. Nice glancing header at the near post. Then it was Konate from another corner. He has issues defensively this season, but he hammered that free header home very well. What's frustrating for Frankfurt is that the corner it came from completely unforced. Bad header from the Frankfurt defender that looped over his own keeper and out for the corner. Then you concede from that corner. I mean, Dino Topmuller with fistfuls of his own hair in his hands. Arne Slot couldn't get fistfuls of his own hair if he tried, but he did try Ekitike and Isaac at the same time on the pitch. But by halftime, that experiment was over and Federico Chiesa got his chance. Deserved chance, by the way, with how he's been playing so far this season. But this wasn't the Liverpool that collapses. It was a dominant Liverpool with Gakpo and Szoboszlai adding to the score. Again, I stand by saying Szoboszlai being Liverpool's most important player this season. Goal and assist for him. A couple of 0-0s on Wednesday. Tottenham going away to AS Monaco and coming away with 1 point. Vicario earning his wages and then some in this match. Some great saves. 8 of them all from opportunities in the box as well, with 2.68 goals prevented. Atalanta, Slavia Praha, 0-0. The goalkeepers, the best players on the pitch here as well. Slavia still looking for their first win in this competition. Sporting wearing the white and pink kits for breast cancer awareness. Very nice stuff. But it was Marseille who was playing the nice stuff early in this match. Igor Paixão getting the goal for them. However, after Emerson got himself sent off for a second yellow, which was for simulation, you could feel that Sporting was going to score a goal, and they were absolutely dominant in that second half. Catamo getting the goal off the bench and on the pitch to equalize. Their winning goal was one of the nastiest deflections you'll see, off the chest of the defender and straight into the ground, and then loops over the keeper into the top corner. Alisson Santos put enough power into that it could smash into the defender's chest, smash into the ground, and still carry enough momentum to go past the keeper. And that was the winner. 2-1 Sporting, their second win this season. There is a new rule in football that there must be a red card in a Chelsea match. Not for Chelsea this time, however. We saw an absolute record-breaking VAR checking from Felix Zweyer, who went to the monitor for about 3 seconds, and I'm not kidding. He ran up, looked at the monitor for 3 seconds, saw what he needed to see, and ran back to the pitch. That's how clear-cut this red card for Kenneth Taylor was, as you can see. 17 minutes, and he was already back in the dressing rooms taking a shower. From the ensuing free kick, Marc Guy, who knows how to say it perfectly, right? We'll just call him Mark. Mark would find himself unchallenged at the back post for 1-0. Caicedo doubled the lead as he's in great goal-scoring form this season, isn't he? That's a fun development for Chelsea supporters. Big deflection on this one, but if you don't shoot, you don't score, my friend. Weghorst gave Ajax hope with a penalty, but a couple of penalties for Chelsea at the very end of the half killed all hope for Ajax. Easy stuff in the end. Ajax are actually the worst team in the entire league phase at this moment. Second worst, Benfica, who Chelsea also beat. Oh, I'm spoiling the next section. At the top of the table, we have PSG, Bayern, Inter, Arsenal, and Real Madrid, all with 3 wins from 3. The big clubs are doing their thing. Middle third starts with Sporting with 2 wins and a loss, and Union Saint-Gilloise are in 24th with 3 points. Juve just below on 2 points, and like I said, look at those basement boys. God, we are so bad. Kane and Mbappe lead the way with 5 goals apiece, but Rashford and Gordon and Haaland are all on 4. For assists, Aubameyang on 3, then the 2 PSG fullbacks of Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. And there it is, another match day completed, and we have a massive game in the next round. PSG versus Bayern, top of the table clash, 2 of the best teams in Europe right now, not just in the standings, but just in general, unmissable. All right, I thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in a video tomorrow, actually. Later, guys.